Oh man, are we having fun? I'm James Hamilton, your host of Star Wars Weekend for the Voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Clone Wars. Anybody watch Clone Wars? Excellent. Hey, make sure you check out all our other fantastic shows, but right now, I think we should get right to it, don't you?
Yeah!
Oh man, are you pumped?
Yeah!
Are you ready? I'm asking all of you out there too, are you all excited? Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars royalty. I mean, what can I say about this guy? I'm just going to have to say, take a look at these screens.
not a game. You know, it's not like we're trying to annoy the fans or drum up interest. You know, it's like trying to plan a really big, elaborate surprise party. And you're trying to decide what food you're going to get, and who's going to decorate it, and, you know, where you're going to have it, and so forth. And it's, you know, it's mostly so we can maximize your eventual enjoyment of the picture. And we want you to see it at the movies, not on the internet. And so it's very nice. There are blue meanies out there. There are blue meanies out there that are going to try and show you every creature, and God knows they'll probably try and leak the script and put it online. So if I were you, I'd do that. That's right. I've seen, I don't know about you, I've seen trailers where you go, wow, practically I think I've seen the whole movie. You want some surprises, that's all. Okay, well, we're done with that.
We're done with that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, let's go back.
And I didn't know my beard fast enough. The last day I shaved was the day after the table read, April 29th.
Yeah.
And it's pathetic. This is 6 weeks. I gotta keep going, man.
I think it's a nice little
arc. So
let's go back to the beginning of your Star Wars adventure.
Yes.
Okay? Tell us about the audition process. Did you even know the name of the movie? How did it all begin for you?
I had a friend, I had just done a series called The Texas Wheelers from Mary Tyler Moore Productions, and it was canceled. I was sort of depressed about that, and my friend Robert England, who was Freddie Krueger and all the car pictures, he goes, have you been up through that George Lucas movie? And I said, what is it? Because I knew it from American Graffiti. He said, I think it's like Flash Gordon or something. You don't get to see the script, but it's all set in space and everything. And I said, are you up for it? He said, I didn't get it. That's what I'm telling you. So he wouldn't tell me about it until he was sure that he didn't pass it over.
That's the movie, though.
You know, actors are like that. Actors are like that. But when I think about it, I think Robert must have been up for the Han Solo character.
I don't know, yeah.
But I went out about 28 and I said, I really want to go out on this thing. And I think we knew it was called, I think they called it The Star Wars. But it was what they call a cattle call, which means a room just filled with actors. And it was twofold. Brian De Palma was seeing people for Carrie, the Stephen King horror film, and George was seeing people for Star Wars.
In the same space.
In the same space. So when we went in at a table with George and Brian. And George never spoke. It was Brian that did all the talking. I didn't know. I thought maybe George was Brian's assistant. Because I didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah.
And basically they just talked to you, know, where are you from? And I said, well, I'm in the middle of 7 children. My dad was in the Navy. And we just talked for about 5 minutes. And basically what you're doing is you're showing them you're either checked on a list of let's see him again, or you're crossed off. Because you don't do any performing or anything. You just talk a little bit. And it's next.
And how did you do?
Well, I was told that, Robert said that, and my agent said, one of the characters is a farm boy. So he's probably not really sophisticated. He's probably not all that bright. And the role I was born to play. He should probably look freshly punched, slightly bewildered. But, so he's trying to go in and be genuine and just be who you are, but you have no idea of what they're looking for. And then months later, maybe 6 weeks later, I got a 6-page scene in the mail. And that was the first time I'd seen any material. And I went in, I did a video-taped screen test with Harrison. And I got really excited because I knew Harrison. Harrison Ford, yeah.
Oh, come on.
And I knew him from American Graffiti.
Yeah, he's pretty great. Now look at this. See, I love all these great candid shots. It looks like you're having so much fun.
Oh, look at Fire Sale. That was a movie that came out the same summer as us from Alan Arkin directed that. And I later worked with Alan. He directed me off-Broadway in the production of Brood Service. And he's still mad at Star Wars because he's convinced that it killed Fire Sale. You're doing the movie. serious or is it a parody? It seemed to me like it would be like Mel Brooks or something.
Do you remember some of the lines?
Here's the thing. Now, I've done this before. If bear with me, if you've done this before. But there's a line that was in the screen test that's not in the movie. And all these years later, 163 years later, I still remember this line. Because we're in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and there was no Wookiee. It was just Han Solo, and he was like, "Hey, kid." I'm just trying to approximate sort of that minimalist, low energy that Harrison does. I mean, we can read into everything he says because it's like he's hypnotizing you at the same time as he's but anyway, he was saying that we're turning back. And I said, and my character says to him, but we can't turn back. Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquila or Sallust. And what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault. And I'm like, who talks like this? I mean, you can diagram that sentence.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. Fear is their greatest defense, meaning whatever that, because he says, that's no moon, that's a space station. That's why it wants to turn around. And regarding that space station, I say, but fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquila or Sallust, two made-up names of little asteroids, that I get. Sure. And what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault. In other words, we're small enough in the Millennium Falcon to slip in because they're looking for big armadas. Yeah. So, I mean, it made sense when I broke it down, but I remember saying to George, I said, this is like kind of in fun, and he, he was like, well, let's just put them about it. Which I later learned from experience, when George says that, it means let's do it now and never talk about it. He doesn't like that. I think one of the reasons he is successful at what he does is he casts people that are so close to what he wants that he doesn't have to go in there and do major, He
gets the natural energy that they have.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I would be like on the Death Star and be saying, wait a second, shouldn't I be picking up on the princess kind of, bantering back and forth with Han Solo, or shouldn't I notice the robots are making wisecracks and so forth? He goes, well, it's just, and I said another thing, pronunciation. Is it Leia or Leah? Is it Han or Han? Is it Chewbacca or Chewbacca? He goes, I don't care, just say it. And I said, you mean there's no right way to say these things? Well, it's regional.
Yeah. I always kind of appreciated that about him, because he did that in Clone Wars quite a bit, where we would all say it, and he let us all say it differently, because he thought that that's more real.
Yeah,
it really is.
I know, because people say Nevada, people say Nevada, so, it's like, basically it's don't sweat the small stuff.
So, now, getting back to all this great chemistry that you guys had, I mean, we do have some great shots. Was it always fun on set? I mean, it's always, from what I see, and from what I hear from y'all, it seems like you guys really did have a good time. Look at that! We're going into space!
I can't remember laughing as much on anything
really?
as this movie. I mean, it was just wicked fun. I mean, we had to take it seriously. We had to really sell it in terms of like, if you don't believe it, then nobody's going to believe it. Yeah. But just to get it all out of our system, we goof on it when the cameras weren't rolling. And I mean, I was reminded of that because I saw this documentary footage of us making our way back to Millennium Falcon when Alec Guinness gets cut down.
Yeah.
And that's a really dramatic moment for Luke. But like I said, it was like being put out on the biggest playground with all, props, your own toy robots and laser. I mean, how could you not have fun?
Yeah.
If you can't have fun doing that, and then you're in the wrong movie. And I do remember the swing across. You just had a picture of Carrie and I was looking forward to that all week long. 2 days, doing the swing across, tomorrow. And we were both in harnesses, the way you would, be harnessed up for Peter Pan.
Sure.
So we were all on wires, and then they have two harnesses linked And normally in the movies you do it over and over, and you might spend all day doing that. We swung across.
You were that good.
You just and you go, camera, it's good, you know. All right, moving on.
That's it.
What? What a chip!
That's the
I said, that is so good. So I did a little mini tantrum, and they said, all right, we'll get Terry on harness. If Mark wants to fly, we'll fly.
So did you get to go in?
They flew me all around. I was like really living out the big way.
Now, speaking of all these wonderful people that you've worked with, let's do it. I think it's time for a Star Wars Weekend's double take, don't you think? Yep, let's do it.
It's a Star Wars Weekend's double take. Goodness gracious me.
All right. So, Mark, let's for time's sake, let's talk the cast for a bit. I'm going to give you a name, and you give me a sentence or a word. Okay? So, a sentence or a word per person to sum them up and your time with them. Okay? Here we go. First one. Alec Guinness.
Ultimate gentleman and ultimate actor. I just adored Alec. He had a wonderful sense of humor. He loved, of all things, I'd be asking about the laughter film mob or the lady who, I don't want to talk about the world. You want to hear about soap opera and a dog food commercial? I had done nothing that he wouldn't have seen. But he loved my lack of pretense. He loved the fact that he loved American humor.
Yeah.
And I remember one time his wife was sketching a mosque when we were in Tunisia. And this was taboo to the religion there. And a local official realized what she was doing. And he grabbed the paper and tore it up. And Lady Guinness was startled, and so was Alec. And he turned to me and he said, "What is that?" I said, "I have no idea, unless it was a local art critic." And see, he loved that because it was unexpected. And he liked it too.
And that was the longest sentence I've ever heard. Okay. Next one.
I failed to say that. So I rather had nice. That's what you're going to get from now on.
Here we go. Harrison Ford.
Nice.
Carrie Fisher.
Very nice.
Give us more than 2 words. Come on.
Well, as you all know, Carrie is just wickedly funny. I mean, incredible wit, and her mother is just a legend in cinema history. And,
For those of you that don't know Debbie Reynolds,
really wonderful actress. I don't think she gets the credit she deserves because she sings and dances, and they somehow think that makes her less of an actress. But if you see her in How the West Was Won, or less recent thing when she played Liberace's mother.
pretty great, yeah.
I mean, I didn't recognize her. She was a wonderful actress. She loved to laugh, I love to laugh. Harrison is also very funny. He's very, very witty, and I wish he would do more comedies.
Yeah.
Although they kind of would make it,
If you get some time with him, that's pretty funny. In the near future, if you get time with him, you can encourage him to do that. If you get time with him anytime in the near future, you can encourage him to do some comedies. Yeah. Okay, Irving Kirshner.
Brilliant. And really intrigued with the mystical aspects of, see now where George really didn't want to talk about things, Kirshner was an actor's director. He really loved talking about motivation and backstory, and well, there he is.
As you say things, it comes out right there.
It's amazing.
Disney magic.
I better talk about my honeymoon.
We've got a great show for you tonight. Frank Oz.
Oh, great. Well, I grew up being just so enamored with the Muppets. I mean, even before the Muppet Show, they say, "Hey, Mark, the Muppets are going to be on Insulting this Sunday." So I was a huge fan. And he couldn't be nicer. Again, he's a wonderful director, as he's shown over the years. But so personable, and that's Wendy.
Yeah.
It was just be watching Frank and go, many years ago. And all of a sudden, it would, I'm in the Rolling Stones. Oh, there he is. I said I sort of laughed, right in Yoda's face, didn't I?
You do a pretty good Yoda. I think.
Well, you know what happened is we all started doing Yoda. Everybody, when we break for lunch and the blue guy would say, to the commissary, you are going. So everybody's talking backwards and talking like Yoda. And Frank eventually said, please, it was posted on the Paul board, please stop doing Yoda because Frank's starting to do your version of his version of his version. So you got to stop that. But they were really forthcoming in terms of letting me put the puppet on. I went up to Stuart Freeborn's workshop when they were whipping up the phone to make Yoda. We went down on Saturdays when we weren't shooting and worked all day with Frank, and I just loved it. I mean, from the minute I set eyes on that Yoda, I said, it just works so totally for me.
Well, here's the thing, and we had one other person that I was going to give a name for, we'll get back to, but your performance with Yoda, I think, is really what made us all believe him and believe in Yoda. It's just the two of you. There was never a doubt that Yoda was alive. I mean, it seemed that the two of you had this special bond,
And I held my breath and kept my fingers crossed because I said, if we get one critic that mentions, even in a positive way, that Hamill works well with puppets, I said, we're dead. And frankly, that's sort of an insider. I mean, James being an actor himself would understand it. Frank actually said to me, do some lip sync.
I think you were scratching it. It's great.
I can't get used to this facial fur. But Frank said to me, he said, look, like I said to him, I tried working that puppet. It wasn't easy. I mean, yeah, the mechanical ears and somebody was working the eyes, but in terms of just the way he manipulated the mouth and the way he could make the body sag and tilt the head when he was listening to me, because I would do it in the mirror, and of course, with his decades of experience, it made me really appreciate what he brought to the performance. And I was talking to him one time, I said, thank goodness that they toyed with the idea of making it a little person in a mask. George at one point said, how a monkey with a head on. No, seriously, well, you remember a band that they just dressed up an elephant, but he only had to be in a couple of, he didn't have to really carry scenes.
We didn't have to lift an X-ray.
Yeah, and I've worked with some pretty uncouth actors, but never Spider-Man in a mask. That sounds like a recipe for a disaster. Frank actually said to me, and that is one of my fondest and most proud moments, he said, if you didn't believe, no one would believe. And he credited me much too generously with being a large percentage of how that thing worked. And I don't agree with him because, like I say, I didn't have to pretend to believe. I believed. I just thought he was, from the moment, and even before he was, and by the way, he was always breaking down to the point wherever you see Luke without Yoda, or if you see over Yoda's shoulder onto Luke, it's the dummy Yoda, because they run the main one up to Stuart's office or workshop and work on him. So most of the time, he was a piece of tape on a stick going, I can be a Jedi. It's right here. There you go. But I can. I'm telling you, I can be a Jedi. That's just how we act on set. It's bringing back memories.
Fantastic stuff, though. It really is. Now, do you remember the first scene you shot? Do you remember that?
For the very
all of them. Do you remember?
Yes. The very first shot in the movie is me coming out of that igloo-type dwelling towards to buy the robots, and then I hear Aunt Beru, Luke, and what's so funny was when I went over to that crater and looked down, it was only this deep. reverse over my shoulder. It was miles away, 50, 100 miles away, at a real hotel. And that was the lobby of a hotel.
Yeah.
So that's the magic of movies. You pretend. So as I was walking out of that little igloo house, they said, walk about 10 feet and then react like someone's calling you. Because Sheila Fraser, who played Aunt Brew, she wasn't even on set that day.
So who called you? Was it George?
No, he didn't like doing that. He didn't like doing that. He says, just walk on, walk to around there and then pretend like Aunt Brew was calling you. So I knew the script was, so I started going, you know, and then you just do it. It's all make-believe. I mean, I've been doing this, like, I'm sure you're the same way. I mean, we used to play Zorro in the backyard, or Robin Hood, or we go see a James Bond movie, and for days after we were just going around, I was like, you know, sneaking around corners.
You're still weird.
I was a weird kid, you know.
In session, we'll do it.
I still do the same way with voices. I remember the first time I ever saw Dracula.
Yeah.
I want to know what he talks like this. Why does he talk like that? You know?
See, this gets me on. You're actually quite the impressionist. We've done quite a few voiceover shows together. I remember you've already done a little Harrison, but there was a show we did where we were doing voice matches. I was doing like Martin Scorsese, and you were doing Harrison Ford.
You know who does great is I did Stuart Little, and Michael J. Fox didn't do the series. Your Michael J. Fox is spot on.
Oh, thank you. Well, wait a second, Doc. Whoa, we need something to do with the time machine.
Close your eyes and you're there.
Well, I said, Mark, if you're going to put a time machine into a car, why not waste some time?
That's why, if you ever see Comic Book the movie, I directed this documentary at the San Diego Comic Book Convention, and it's filled with voiceover people. I didn't really have the time or the budget to really audition people. I just know the wealth of talent there is in voiceover. And I went, oh, you know, you'd be perfect to play X, Y, or Z, and that's the way we cast it.
It was a lot of fun, and thank you for letting me do that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Let's do a little social media madness. Do you mind taking some questions from Twitter and Instagram and all of those? Can we do a little social media madness here, guys?
Social media madness.
Okay. Here's how this works, Mark. We asked people on Twitter to send us #AskHamill. We got flooded with questions, and we've chosen a few. Do you mind answering some of these? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the first one here. Okay, it says, what was your favorite scene to shoot in the trilogy?
Boy, that's so tough. Your favorite scene. One of the scenes I kept looking forward to because I thought it popped when I read the script. In a science fiction or fantasy movie, everybody's waiting for the monster. Now, we saw the Tusken Raiders and the Jawas to a certain extent. But I said, when we walk into that cantina, and it's just nothing but wall-to-wall monsters, that really appealed to me. And so I was really, really looking forward to that one. But I already talked about how much I love the swing across. You know, I love the trash compactor. I mean, so many of these elements in the movie were right out of the kind of things that I loved when I was a kid. Tarzan movies and, you know, swashbuckler pirate movies, cowboy movies. And it just seemed like a dream come true. I mean, I was a kid that read Famous Monsters magazine, built all the Aurora monster kits. So I mean, I was the one that would really get it. Hey, you guys, our faces are masks on the back of cereal boxes. I can't believe it. And you ever seen the cereal box?
Okay, let's look at another one of these here. All right, what do we got? Okay, Raymond is asking, while filming the Wampa scenes on Hoth, how long did you actually have to do that?
Oh gosh, days upon days. What happened was we shot like 1 or 2 days main unit.
Yeah.
And then Kirshner and everybody moved on, and that became a second unit shot. Gary Kurtz did a day, Robert Watts did a day, I think Norman Reynolds did 2 days.
And they left you hanging?
Well, that was the joke. They go, okay, that's a break for lunch, and everybody walked off. But it's a wonderful way to lose weight, by the way. Because not only you sort of lose your appetite hanging upside down, but you don't want to disgrace yourself in any manner, shape, or form. So you really eat like oatmeal and you really watch what you eat. And people would come and lift you halfway so the blood wouldn't completely rush to your head. It just went on and on and on and on. And talk about flying. It's the same guy that flew us across when we were with the princess, but he had me in a harness and I was upside down, and that was what they call, we call it styrofoam over there, they call it polystyrene. There you go. And I think his name was Derek. But he had these marks on, because I couldn't see him, he was somewhere behind the set, and he would preset where I was and where to drop me when I got the lightsaber and cut the stalactite down so I wouldn't crash myself. Instead of tuck my chin and take it, the brunt on my shoulders. Well, one day, apparently he had a little brandy at lunch. And he mixed up his marks. And he started, after one of the takes where I was down, he started bringing me up. And he didn't stop. I started breaking through the polystyrene. And I was screaming, Derek, stop! 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 And it's snowing all this polystyrene. And, I guess you have to be there.
Speaking of being here,
Either side.
we had John Ratzenberger here last week. Anybody?
Yeah.
John? Cheers. And he was in Empire Strikes Back. Now, I don't know if you are aware that he was in a scene with you that was cut out. Have you seen this?
I have not seen
We
it.
just uncovered this. So let's just take a look at this.
Oh, boy.
If you guys have. kind of career.
But you know what was great about the voiceover people, because I didn't really get into it until the early 90s. I did something when I was a teenager. I did the animated version of I Dream of Jeannie in the Larry Hagman role. Now, Jeannie, cut that out, you're going right back to the bottom. And Julie McWhirter was Jeannie, doing an incredible Barbie. And I worked with Larry Hagman, and when I told him that, I said, I can't do you, but I played your part on the cartoon version. Now, that would have been like 72 or 3. Okay. And then I didn't work again in voiceover. By the time I did it again, it was Joker, and I didn't know about voiceover agents.
Oh, really?
Specialized just in that, because I got Jeannie through my theatrical agent. But the reason I'm bringing this up is when I went to do my first voiceover jobs, I knew who Rob Paulson was, I knew who Jeff Bennett was, I knew who Tress McNeil, Maurice LaMarche.
Now let me explain to that.
Frank
Rob
Welker
Paulson and Maurice LaMarche are Pinky in the Brain. Anybody know Pinky in the Brain? Rob Paulson is from the Animaniacs. We're all from the Animaniacs. Tress McNeil. I mean, these are Johnny's in voiceover. Yeah.
I would, first of all, I'm a huge animation fan. I've been all my life, and I would tape these things on Saturday morning. I'd watch with the boys and my daughter as they were going up. But I would freeze frame on the end credits, and because I wanted to know who played all these characters. Have you ever tried to read end credits without a freeze frame? Oh, yeah. There's that 60 names, you can't see anybody.
Yeah.
So I think they were flattered that I knew who they were. I mean, I knew who you were before I met you, so...
Mark, come on.
But I still remember seeing that episode of the Walt Disney Show where they showed Clarence Nash doing Donald Duck. It was the first time, maybe 6 or 7, where I went, oh, wait a minute, yeah. There are actors that go in and voice cartoons.
That's right. And now I'm going to do a shameless plug for my show, okay? Because if you want to know more about that, you can come back and see Obi-Wan Beyond later. What I did.
You should see the show.
Hey, honestly though, we really appreciate that you are such a lover of voice acting, but you are a tremendous voice actor, and I thank you, because the first project we ever worked on, I played the kid version, and you played you did this great old man, it was just a narration, you were narrating, so we played the same character.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was many, many years ago. I think it's called Arrow Troopers?
Arrow Troopers.
It was an Arrow Troopers, yeah. So that was fun. So we played the same role. That was my first time working with you.
Well, I finally, after all those years of being asked, I said, okay, I'll do a Clone Wars. And so I did one episode. Yeah, and they said, don't tweet or don't talk about it or don't mention it. I said, oh, okay. 3 years later, it's been on, it's gone.
Yeah, it was on Netflix. It's in season 6, and you are fantastic in it.
Was it never on Cartoon Network?
It was not on Cartoon Network. It is on Netflix. You can see it now. And you play Darth Bane.
Bane, yes, exactly. And the reason I when they said, what was that him?
That's him.
Because they said, I said, what do you want me to do? I said, I kind of want to make it special, so find something that's fun. And they had me at Darth.
Yeah.
Because I thought, Darth, anybody's got to be interesting.
We wanted you on that show for so many years, and it was fantastic that you actually got to play that.
Tom Kane.
Tom Kane is fantastic. Hey, we are looking at doing something here that I love to do. It's time that we take you inside the Akbar studio.
Oh.
It's a trap!
So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to ask you 7 questions. And if you can just give me the answers here, best you can, we'll see what happens. We'll see how much we all learn about you in Star Wars, okay? Question number 1. What is your favorite Star Wars film?
It's like asking who's your favorite child. I love them all for different reasons, but if you really press me, I have to say Empire. Only because they ask so much more of the audience. It's much more cerebral. It's got elements that are really scary. It doesn't end happily. Yoda's introduced. It's just a much more textured, interesting film. But I can make arguments for Jedi and the original stuff.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
I love all my children.
and we have 2 other days of this, so you can answer differently. What Star Wars sound do you love?
I love any language that you don't understand, whether it's the Jawas, yeah, or the Ewoks, or R2 is a symphony of emotions, and yet we have no idea what he's saying exactly. And I think that, again, is engaging your imagination and you're filling in what he's saying and to 3PO. So,
okay, and you gave us a little hint here. What Star Wars sound do you not love?
Okay, this is a pet peeve of mine. When I read the script for what happened in the Wampa Cave, I said, well, wait a second. They didn't describe what happens in the film. They said, with a swipe of the lightsaber, he makes the creature draw back.
Sure.
I don't just know they called it a Wampa. You know, a lot of times they wouldn't name these things until they made them into toys. Believe me. He called it a medical droid and didn't know until after Kenner got his hands on it that it was IG-88.
Yeah.
So we call it the dustbin robot, the medical droid, the ice creature, whatever it was. And I remember saying to them, I said, well, wait a second, because the camera was here and all I had to do was this, was a lightsaber. And I said, no, wait a minute, guys. This thing's just like a hungry bear. He's not evil. So I'm just like licking his fur, right? I'm just scaring him a little, just giving him a little sting, like with a fly swatter. And, oh, yeah. Don't worry about it. You know, Luke would, because I said, Luke loves animals. I mean, Mark loves animals too, and I don't want to do anything that would be cruel or inhumane. Oh, don't worry about it. Cut to me in the theater a year and a half later. Not only do I cut his arm off, it comes down in slow motion and hits the deck. Yeah. So the sound that he makes when I cut his arm off, it's just, I'm still super.
Okay.
But they tricked me. I specifically asked, I'm not going to hurt him, right? I'm just going to nick him. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. Question number 4. What is your favorite Star Wars word?
Wookiee.
Excellent. What character besides your own would you have liked to have been?
Oh, you got some time on your hands? When I first read it, I don't know who's playing this Darth Vader guy, but... And I also thought of the humans. Who wouldn't want to be Han Solo? He's wisecracking, hey, he's mocking the Force, people believe in that Force garbage. I mean, he was the modern voice of cynicism, which I think was a great release for the audience. They were able to accept a lot of the more corny elements of the movie because there was a surrogate making fun of everything for them. Yes. I think that was very clever. So everybody wanted to be Harrison. I did, I know.
On that note, what character would you not like to be?
Well, Princess Leia is kind of a stretch. I mean, maybe in my slimmer days I could have pulled it off.
Okay, and final question. Mark Hamill, is there anything you would like to say to your fans?
Listen, guys, over the years, we have been I, for sure, have been so moved at the amount of support and affection we displayed. It's to the point where I don't even think of you as fans, you're more like family. I